Hey guys, Derek here with another video. So I was gonna do kind of like a collection slash hidden gems kind of. These are some of the games on the PSP type of video series, but I think Crack pretty much hit on like 90% of what I was gonna talk about in his video. So I'll just put a link to his video if you want to go check out a bunch of PSP games and kind of hear what they're about. But the few games that he didn't show were all the import shmups. So I guess this will just be maybe like one or two, maybe like two videos on the import shmups of the PSP because I think it's probably one of the better systems for shmups. So like if you have a PSP 2000 or 3000, it natively outputs over components, so you can just get a component cable, connect it to a TV. Playing on a TV is infinitely more comfortable PSP playing wise for me versus like holding a PSP and trying to look at the screen and hold the buttons and everything. Like it just cramps my hands too bad. But playing it on a TV, it's like playing on a normal controller, and I actually prefer it that way. So I've got mine hooked up to a FrameMeister, upscaled to 1080p. Obviously, it's still not full screen, but then with the FrameMeister, you can like zoom in, so you can kind of make it full screen. Anyways, I just prefer playing PSP games on the TV. So anyways, like I've got 10 games here. Every last one of them is a shmup. So if you don't like shmups, this probably isn't the video for you. And yeah, so we'll just get started. So these are kind of in order from the games that I kind of least enjoyed to the one that I enjoyed the most for this first set of games. And the next set will only have like 5 or 6 games in it. But this one will have 10. So the first game up is Cho Aniki Zero, I think is the Japanese name. It translates to like Zero Super Big Brother or something like that. It's an incredibly strange game. It's incredibly Japanese, I guess I should say too. It's like I'm not sure if this is based on an anime series or what, but it's a side-scrolling shmup, like a horizontal shmup. You can play as a male or female character. Then you'll have like you can choose between those two, and then you can choose between how you want your like two helpers to I guess set themselves up around you, and then you're kind of like thrown into the gameplay. Like scrolling wise, the game scrolls pretty slowly. It's not like a fast-paced shmup at all. Character designs are, I'd say, interesting to creepy, somewhere on that spectrum. Um, and then like gameplay wise, you can face forwards, backwards, take out enemies coming at you forwards, backwards. It's in 3D, so I guess that's kind of cool, and it doesn't look too awful on the PSP. For a horizontal swap too, like I think it takes pretty good use of, or it makes pretty good use of the screen area. But like gameplay wise, it's just not a very fun game. Like I get up to the third boss, and I just get my ass handed to me, and then you have to start the game over if you use all your continues. So it just kind of sucks. You have to like constantly keep starting the game over. But maybe with time you get better with the game. It's just probably my least favorite of the import shmups. The next game up is going to be a series. I think it's called like Ginga, Ojousama, Densetsu or something like that. I probably butchered the hell out of that name, but I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know. I just call the series Galaxy Fraulein, and like this one, the first two games, they're either like interactive novels or RPGs or some kind of weird text-based games. Like the animation in them is really good, and there's a lot of like really good voice acting, which leads me to believe that these were Super CD games. Oh yeah, I should say like this series, the PC Engine Best Collection is like ports of TurboGrafx and PC Engine games over to the PSP. So I talked about I've gotten a TurboGrafx 16, and that caused me to actually buy more PSP games. It's because all the games that I really wanted to buy are incredibly expensive on the TurboGrafx, but on the PSP, you can buy these collections, and you can get like the entire series of the games on a UMD disc for a relatively good price. I think once the secret gets out that these games exist, the prices will probably skyrocket on them, which is part of the reason I wanted to do this video now, is like if anyone's interested in these games, you can try to get them now. But anyways, back to Galaxy Fraulein. Yeah, so like there's 3 games on the UMD. The first 2 games are like text-based action RPGs or something, I don't know. If you just want to look at a lot of cool animation and hear some Japanese conversation, those games are there. But the third game on the disc is the one that's the shmup. So the game looks really good, like the music in it is really good, and that's going to be like a common theme across a lot of the PSP shmups, is that the soundtrack is just so freaking amazing. And this game's no different. It's so good, but the game is so ridiculously hard. Like I probably would have rated it higher if I hadn't died like repeatedly within like the first 5 minutes of gameplay. Like it's just a very, very hard game, and I'm guessing you have to get pretty good at shmups in general to be good at this game. But it's maybe with time I'll come back to this list and re-rank them. But enjoyment-wise, this one isn't very high just because I can't really get far into the game. It's still a great game graphically, like I said. TurboGrafx games on the PSP look really good, and then upscale to the frame raster, they look really good too. So the next game up is going to be another collection. Like basically, I think all of these but 2 games are going to be collection discs with multiple shmups on them. So like I'm showing 10 games, but in reality it's probably somewhere like, I don't know, like 20 plus shmups that you're going to have access to. So this is a series of games that was on the Famicom and Super Nintendo, I know for sure. I know there was arcade games, and I'm pretty positive there was TurboGrafx games, but I don't know 100%. But the Super Nintendo games, at least, like Super Nintendo, Super Famicom games, command quite the premium these days, so they're not very cheap games, and I know you can buy repros of well, at least one of the games that the repro is still like more expensive than the UMD that I bought. But it's going to be TwinBee Portable, and this is a collection of 5 TwinBee games, and these are kind of colorful, like vertical shmups, and like you get the Famicom game, you get a Super Famicom game. I think there's like a 10th anniversary arcade game on here. That one I think is the best game on this whole collection. And then you get what I'm guessing is like a mobile game, and then another one which I'm not sure what system it came from. But the arcade game is probably the most fun. In general, all these games, like the TwinBee game, these games, they're very slow to me, and I don't really like the TwinBee series in general. Like color-wise, they look really good. Music-wise, like I said, the soundtrack is really good. But gameplay-wise, it's just not really fun. Like you can attack targets in the air that are coming at you. You can attack targets on the ground. It takes 2 separate buttons to attack both. And there's just a lot happening on the screen. It's hard to upgrade your weapons. Like you upgrade through bells, and like you shoot clouds, bells will pop up in the air. You continually shoot the bells, and they'll change. Like if you pick up a gold bell, you just pick up points. I'm not really sure what the bells, like what the points do besides count towards having a high score. And if you keep shooting the bells, they'll change colors, and then like depending on the color bell you pick up, you either get like force field ability, you'll get like multiple TwinBees that are following you, so you can kind of like shoot more projectiles on the screen, or you can just upgrade your shot. But it's just, it happens so few and far between and kind of randomly, since you're shooting everything else on the screen. You'll see like an upgrade bell, and then you'll try to go for it, but then like a cluster of enemies will surround it, so then you try and shoot the enemies, and you end up shooting the bell, and then it turns gold, and then you lose that on the weapon upgrade, and that's just kind of really annoying to me. But it's not a very expensive collection, like I said, and yeah. So the next game up is going to be, well, the next 2 games up are basically going to be, actually I'm just going to switch to the other one. They're going to be basically the same games, just like, I guess, humor-wise and content-wise, they're slightly different. But the first game up is going to be the Gradius Collection, or, yeah, Gradius Collection. So this game comes with Gradius 1, 2, 3, 4, and Gradius Gaiden. I think Gradius 4 and Gradius Gaiden are the best games on this disc, because like you can get Gradius 3 really cheap on the Super Nintendo. You can get Gradius 3 and 4 on the PS2, and then I don't know what Gradius Gaiden came out on. Maybe it was a PlayStation game, but I never really heard of it before the collection. But like I said, 4 and Gaiden probably the best on the UMD, and like traditional, I guess, Gradius games. It's a side-scrolling shooter. You pick up upgrades. You continue to pick up upgrades, and then select an option for permanent like upgrade. Once it lands on the option down on the bottom of the screen, and kind of like Gradius 3 looked good for a sprite-based game, but 4 and Gaiden have a little bit more 3D animation going for them, and it looks really good. Like I said, like, in general on the PSP, these things look really good. But another great game to have, like this one and one other game I'm going to show, are the only two, I guess, Western / North American shmups that I know of that released for the library. Everything else was a Japanese-only game. So this one kind of commands somewhat of a premium these days. I know it's kind of a hard to find, somewhat sought-after game for most PSP collectors, and I think it's a game that's definitely worth having in the collection, and probably about the midway point for me, enjoyment-wise, for all these other games, or like compared to all these other games. And then the next game I'm going to show is a parody of the Gradius series called Parodius, which would be a parody Gradius, I guess. And this is another collection. I think there was like 4 or 5 games on this one. I don't remember the exact names of the Japanese games, but kind of like with the Gradius series, the later games in the collection are definitely the better ones to play. In this one, like I think in the very last one that you can play, there's something like, I want to say it was like 12 or 13 playable characters that you could choose from, and it was pretty cool to play like the different characters. And the upgrade paths are pretty much the same as Gradius, except where they incorporate a little bit of the bell system from TwinBee. Like you pick up bells, and they don't necessarily like change your upgrade. They're just kind of like the things that you normally pick up in a Gradius game for upgrades. But it's kind of cool to see them like incorporate stuff from all their other series into this game. And yeah, like the bosses are pretty interesting looking. The level designs are kind of quirky and interesting, I guess I should say too. And then the game is a lot more colorful than the Gradius games, but definitely a cool game to have if you like the Gradius games. So the next game I'm going to show is the only other North American shmup that I have in my collection, and it's one that you can't get on PSN. So if you want this game, you're going to have to get it physical. And it's not really like an amazing game, but I just kind of like that it's different. It's graphically different, and gameplay-wise, it's kind of fun. It just, like, every level is basically the same, and it takes a long time to see something different. But the game is going to be called Platypus, and it's kind of a claymation, graphically it's like claymation-looking game, and it's a side-scrolling shmup. So the game looks really good. Like I say, this one plays basically like any other shmup. You shoot enemies, you pick up weapon upgrades, and you pick up fruit of all things for like points and stuff. But it's deceptively easy, I think, in the first couple of stages, and then it gets like really tough. And some of the weapon upgrades are pretty cool. Other than that, like I said, there's not a whole lot to talk about other than novelty-wise. It's one of the few shmups that released in North America for the PlayStation, and graphically it's claymation. So I talked about this next game in my Pickets video before the last Pickets video that I did, and I'm only showing it because it's a good shmup, but I would recommend picking up the Vita version of this game because it's infinitely better. But it's going to be Darius Burst, and like I talked about, Darius Burst Chronicle Savior just came out on the Vita. You can get a physical copy of this from like Ami or PlayAsia. I don't know if they still sell them, so eBay might be the place to go. But they just came out within the last month, so maybe they'll still have them up there. But this game, the soundtrack is really cool, although I think it's better on the Vita. And like enemy-wise, there isn't like, they had limitations with this game when they were developing it. They couldn't put as many enemies on the screen as they did, I guess, like an arcade version of the game. But with the Vita version, it's more like, I guess, arcade perfect than this game. There's just a whole lot more going on. Graphically, it looks better. Gameplay-wise, it plays a little faster, and I think it's a better game. But I did have a ton of fun playing just regular old vanilla Darius Burst on the PSP. So I'm guessing with Chronicle Savior coming out, the price on Darius Burst for the PSP is going to remain relatively low. So if you can't find the Vita version of the game, definitely pick up the PSP version. So the next game up is going to be yet another collection video, or a collection disc. And this disc came out on the Sega Saturn as a Salamander Deluxe Salamander Collection Deluxe or something like that. But it's going to be a collection of Salamander games. So on this one, you get Salamander, Life Force, Salamander 2, and then there were like one or two other games that I don't remember the name of. But Salamander 2 was the whole reason that I wanted to get this game. And it's pretty cool to have Salamander and Life Force on the disc as well. The third and, or not the third game, but the fourth and possibly fifth game don't really leave an impact on me. Like, I can't remember what they were. So if that tells you something. But Salamander 2 is a very good game. And as far as I know, it was a Sega Saturn release, and it was a standalone disc release for the Saturn, but you could also get it on the Deluxe Collection, Deluxe Edition Collection, whatever the hell that game was called. But other than that, you couldn't really get it. So getting it on the PSP, definitely a way to go. And I think all of these import shmups that I'm showing you, you can't get on PSN, so getting the physical disc is really the only way that you can play the games. So yeah, just want to throw that out there. So the next game up, or the next two UMDs up, we're all going to be games from the same series of games, and infinitely, easily my favorite games on the PSP at the moment, and possibly giving Kaikatana a run for its money as far as my favorite shmup goes. So the first game up is going to be Star Soldier, and this one is a remake of game and to 3D. So I think that having it in sprite-based form, like I'll show in the next game, is a lot better. Like, Star Soldier is really cool, and it plays really well, but I think some of the graphics get kind of muddy in that everything's dark, and the 3D animation kind of makes everything meld together, so it's hard to tell what's going on. But this game's pretty interesting. Like, as soon as you start it, it asks you to rotate the Vita or the PSP into like Kate mode, or so that like if it's a widescreen format, so it's taller than it is wide. But like, I just kept the PSP sideways and played it like a side-scrolling shmup, and it worked out just fine. But like I said, gameplay-wise, it's really good. The music is pretty good, but nowhere near as good as some of the other Soldier games. And this game is kind of hard, but it's not like incredibly hard. But I think it's just not as fun as the sprite-based Soldier games. And then the last game I'm going to show is by far my favorite PSP game, and this one you can actually get at least 2 or 3 of the games on this UMD off of PSN, but I didn't pay too much for this one, so I want to say that buying the physical release of it is probably cheaper than buying each game individually off PSN, but I could be lying, I don't know. But the game is going to be the PC Engine Best Collection Soldier Collection, and this one you get Super Star Soldier, Final Soldier, Soldier Blade, and kind of like how Parodius is a parody of Gradius series, there's a parody of the Soldier series, and I forgot the name of it, but it's basically a parody of the Soldier series. And you can play as like Bomberman, a PC Engine, or I think it was called like Star Caesar or something, the name of the actual ship. But this series of games is just absolutely phenomenal. I think of the games on this disc, Soldier Blade is the one that I like the most, and this is the thing that actually turned me on to PC Engine / TurboGrafx games being on the PSP in general in the first place, because I wanted two games I wanted to buy for my TurboGrafx were Utopia and Soldier Blade, and when I looked at the price on both of those games, I was like, there's got to be something else out there, because I am not willing to pay hundreds of dollars just to play one game. But yeah, I ended up finding out about the PC Engine Best Collection. So Soldier Blade they're all like vertical shmups. They all kind of have the same color palette to me as like Batsugan, like a really cool anime-ish, like vibrant neon-y, I don't even know. The color palette is really good, and I really like it. And like the weapon upgrades remind me a lot of like Shinryu, except they look a lot better as like animated graphics versus computer generated graphics. And the soundtrack in this game is quite possibly my favorite soundtrack in really any game. The soundtrack in these 3 Soldier games, I should say, are my favorite. soundtrack really of any game, and like the gameplay of these games is fantastic. I think all of them except for the parody game play very well, and you can't really go wrong. So if I could recommend any single one game for the PSP, I would recommend it. Well, I guess if you're a shmup fan. If you don't like shmups, then pass on it. But if you like shmups in any kind of capacity, then the Soldier Collection is definitely a game worth picking up. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this first video for, I guess, PSP shmups. And I think I'll do the second one either this weekend or next week sometime. But anyways, guys, hope you liked the video, and yeah, hope you have a great week coming up. Take it easy. Later.